I'm Collin, and this might just be the most important passenger car in the history of the world. And that very important car is the 1921 Duesenberg Straight, or more commonly known as the Model A. And to fully understand this car, we must understand where it came from. So with that said, time for a little history lesson. Duesenberg was founded in 1913 by brothers August, called Augie, and Frederick Duesenberg. The brothers were born in Germany and immigrated to Iowa at an early age. They eventually got into bicycle racing, and Fred became a state champion in the late 1800s. The brothers then started their own bicycle shop, building, selling, and fixing bikes. In 1913, the Duesenberg brothers started Duesenberg Motor Company, making engines for aircraft, boats, and of course, race cars. They had decent success and placed ninth in the 1913 Indianapolis 500. In 1919, Duesenberg moved to Indianapolis, Indiana. Many wealthy people approached the Duesenberg brothers petitioning for a Duesenberg road car. One of those people was Samuel Northrop Castle. Samuel Northrop Castle lived on the island of Hawaii and owned a large plantation there, which eventually turned into Dole Foods. Mr. Castle got the very first Duesenberg road car produced, which is the one in front of me today. Through the years, the car got handed down and deteriorated. In 2008, it was taken to a restoration shop in California, and that was the beginning of a 5-year, 10,000-hour restoration. The goal was to preserve as much as possible while using the same processes that were used in 1921 to make the car. One of the difficulties of the process was the wooden frame. Instead of replacing it, they cut out all of the rotted areas of it and replaced it with wood they had to shape perfectly to fit inside those holes. The car was taken to prestigious events after it was finished in 2013 and was donated to the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum of Auburn, Indiana. It would also be important to mention that the car was restored to its original 1921 specification. Here's the body of the Duesenberg Straight, but it didn't quite look like this when it came from the factory. This is what you got when you bought a Duesenberg. Just a rolling chassis. You got everything except for the body and the interior. Now, this might seem like a very unusual thing, but back in the day, it was very normal. And if you were a Duesenberg customer, you would then take it to a custom coach builder of your choice, who would build the body and the interior and the rest of the car. And this specific Duesenberg was taken to Bender Body Works in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, this is a one-off body that you will never see on any other Duesenberg. Unlike many other cars of the era, this is a much sleeker design. It is very aircraft and race car inspired. And not too long after the Model J came out, the Straight 8 successor, Mr. Castle opted to ship it back to the factory in Indianapolis to get some upgrades rather than buying the new Model J. The upgrades included modernized brakes and this fog light just in front of the driver window. There were also some other random things here and there. Now, let's move into the interior. Up on the dash here, you have your engine temperature, your flow meter for the fuel, your amps, your oil pressure, your speed, your brake pressure, and a clock. Below all that, you have your mileage and your trip. Then you have your ignition, your light switch, your starter, and your choke. And down on the floorboard here is your lever for the cutoff exhaust valve. You flip it one way and it makes it quieter, and you flip it other and it makes it straight piped. Now just imagine driving down the road, flipping that switch, and listening to that Straight 8 roar. And the interior is very nice as well. The piano black for the dash looks great, and the leather is perfection. The wooden steering wheel is in great condition and looks amazing. All the handles and trim pieces feel solid and high quality. The fine thread gas cap looks wonderful as well. There is also a large luggage rack on the back of the car as well for any chests and items you may need for a road trip. And being that Mr. Castle was 7 feet tall, you could probably imagine that the interior is massive. And it is. I am 6 feet tall, and I can barely reach anything in the car. A first for the Duesenberg Straight 8 was the inline 8 engine. It was the very first production car with an inline 8 engine, and was also the first production car with an overhead cam engine. It is a 4.2 liter, or 260 cubic inches, making 88 horsepower. It was also the first production car with all-wheel hydraulic brakes, which was something only used in race cars up until that point. In terms of riding in the car, it is very different than anything modern. The hood out in front of you looks menacing. The car isn't fast by modern day standards, but in 1921, it was one of the fastest cars around. You also feel like you are commander of the road. The car commands a presence like nothing else. So, why did I say that it was the most important road car? Well, it features earth-shattering technology that we still use in cars to this day, such as the overhead cam and hydraulic brakes, and not to mention that it has a very unique story behind it as well. And also, a huge thanks to the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum in Auburn, Indiana for allowing me to film this car. So please like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.